Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, November 20th, 2015. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. Officials of the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, the ECCAA, are giving the Argyle International Airport a passing grade in one of its test flights conducted yesterday. As we hear in this report from SVG-TV's Sharon Galloway, hundreds of Vincentians turned out at the construction site of the Argyle International Airport to witness the historic event.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has landed. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Argyle International Airport, history has been made here this afternoon. A dream has come true for Vincentians.
An elated crowd cheered at the Argyle International Airport as not just one, but 4 planes touched down at the landing strip as part of the testing of flights by the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, ECCAA. As Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves walked through the crowd with his wife Eloise at hand, the emotional Dr. Gonsalves was unable to hold back the tears as the dream to have planes landed at the site became a reality. Director of the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, ECCAA, Donald McPhail, says they have been engaged with officials at the airport since 2007-2008 and will ensure that the safety of travelers is paramount. He also had high commendations for the government for their efforts to construct the facility.
The Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority continues to meet with those responsible for the project with the main objective of verification of the compliance with the standards and recommended practices stipulated by the International Civil Aviation Organization, the body that is responsible for civil aviation worldwide. And our 2 major concerns or focus are safety and security. So whenever we look at any component of the project, we look at the safety aspects and the security aspects.
Veteran pilots Jonathan Palmer, with over 40 years experience, and Everett Best, with over 30 years, dispelled concerns that crosswinds would cause problems and expressed eagerness to have the air facility fully operational.
One of the legends of aviation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it's an honor for me to stand here with him. I have never had any doubts about the Argyle International Airport. The Prime Minister has always been saying about crosswind runway, and I sent a message to him and asked him please to desist from using that term because it will never be necessary. And I am confident to say that it will not be necessary.
And I can't wait to begin our operation here. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm sure it'll be very soon. I really looking forward for that.
We are now anxious.
We're anxious.
We're anxious now to get back to make it the normal way of operating.
Chief Executive Officer of the International Airport Development Company, Dr. Rudy Matthias, says the project is near the finishing point and citizens must ensure that the ULP government is returned to office to complete the project. He also chided the opposition leader Arnhem Eustace for criticizing the construction of the air facility.
It would be my dream, and I am sure it would be the dream of everyone here, to see this project completed under the ULP administration. I can't conceive of the Argyle International Airport being completed by persons who said at almost every juncture that we didn't need this airport, that it couldn't be built. I can't conceive of them coming to Argyle to open this international airport here at Argyle. I can't conceive of it. I can't conceive of Arnhem Eustace sitting in the VIP lounge in this new airport when it is open.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves expressed gratitude to the officials of the ECCAA for their service, noting that from inception they have been working with IDAC and the government to ensure that they follow the necessary guidelines. Dr. Gonsalves says that he hopes that the flight's landing, with approval from the ECCAA, will silence critics.
Mr. Stewart, sitting was Annie Eustace, who also endorsed that view. Well, you heard Mr. McPhail nail down the lie. You have seen with your own eyes that planes have landed. And the regulators have done their work in respect of the approach lights and a number of other tests performed by them.
The Prime Minister further outlined that funds are being made available to help complete the air facility. Sharon Garraway, SVG Television News.
Minister of Foreign Affairs thanked the various countries and agencies that partnered with this country to help construct the airport. He guaranteed Vincentians that the structure will unify the country as it demonstrates the will of the government and people to triumph.
The story, when finally told, will be a magnificent story that you will all tell your children. Never before in the Caribbean has an independent nation built an airport from scratch in the way that we have done today. It is a story of triumph. It is a revolutionary story, and we should all be proud of what we have accomplished. We are short time away from this airport becoming fully operational, for it boosting our tourism, our agriculture, our economy. And we will all be grateful. Don't mind the politics now. In a few short years, we will all be grateful for the international airport at Argyle. It will unify this country because nobody can say we don't need it. And nobody can say that the story of its completion isn't one of the greatest stories of Vincentian triumph ever told.
Area Representative for South Windward, Frederick Stevenson, who also celebrated his birthday yesterday, praised the determination of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves for his vision to undertake the multi-million-dollar project.
Tears came to my eyes because I remember from since the conception of this project, the opposition NDP have badmouthed it at every step of the way. And this afternoon I feel so good that we are here and 4 aeroplanes have touched down at Argyle International Airport. This is just the start of things to come, because I know that the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines won't allow the NDP to do anything to this airport. We ourselves have started it and we will continue to build it.
And Minister of Tourism Cecil Sesmaki says the construction of the Argyle International Airport is to improve the standard of aviation in this country. He also noted that arrangements are being made to have international flights come to this country through the engagement of various airline companies.
Sometimes it takes more than a day to get to the destination. Very often our baggage is left behind. And we decided 10 years ago that we must do something about it. And while others here in St. Vincent, in the region and further afield said that it was going to be impossible, it could not be done. We are all proud Vincentians standing here this afternoon. And they're also proud Vincentians in the region and in the wider diaspora following this program this evening. We are proud that this afternoon we have seen for ourselves, we've witnessed for ourselves 4 planes touching down right here at the Argyle International Airport. It's real, Vincentians. It's real. And it has happened before our very eyes.
Minister of Agriculture Soboto Caesar promised to have fish exported through the airport by next year, which he said will boost the agricultural industry.
There is a container in the yard of the Owe Fisheries Complex. Marked on it, tropical. And they have to take that container down to Port Kingstown, put it on a ship, and take it to the United States of America. We have tried it already, and the quality was not the best. But next year, I want to say to the fisher folk of this country that you can go and fish more, because you are going to have a direct connection between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and in the international markets.
In tonight's election heat earlier today, the political parties here in SVG were given the opportunity to officially register their candidates for the December 9th elections. The ULP and the opposition NDP have been successful in their submission of all candidates in the 15 constituencies. The newly founded DRP, under the leadership of Anicia Batiste, has a lineup of 6 candidates, while it is still unclear how many candidates were nominated from the SVG Green Party. Leader of the New Democratic Party, Arnim Eustace, says that due to the unwavering support by the people of SVG, he is assured that the NDP is headed toward a victory come election day.
I think we're doing quite well in the campaign. I think the crowd support that we're receiving, including even last night in Cameron Park, is really fantastic. You see the number of people who came from Gorman just walking to the campaign meeting was something special. Same thing happened to Layu a couple of days ago. So we're very pleased with what is happening so far.
And DRP leader Anicia Batiste says that today is a very memorable day, not only for herself and her party, but for SVG, since she believes that the country now has a better option.
Nomination process generally went smoothly. Wherever there were a bit of hiccups in terms of lack of clarity on certain requirements, we were able to get them over very smoothly. And all our candidates, thank God, all 6 of us who were launched recently, we have been nominated, so we are formally candidates. And I am pleased to offer candidates from the Democratic Republican Party to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Confident am I? Well, we have 6 good candidates, and moreover we have great plans and workable ideas, and it's our task now over the next 2 weeks and some to ensure that information about our plans and ideas, which we have in our manifesto, are disseminated throughout the constituencies where candidates for the DRP will be running especially. And we hope that God will provide and the people will support for us to be able to do this kind of movement accordingly, so people can know exactly where the DRP stands and understand that they truly have an alternative of hope in the DRP.
Batiste also urged Vincentians to focus on the issues and not to waste a vote by placing too much importance on family political affiliations and party music.
The people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even as we prepare to go to the polls on December 9th, is to please pay attention to the issues. Elections are about issues that are affecting and concerning the lives of all of the people. Judge the candidates based on the issues, based on what we say we're going to do, the plans and ideas that we have. Judge us also based on what you know of us and our leadership, okay? our consistency, our service to the people, our genuineness or lack thereof. Don't vote just based on party line, even though that may have been the traditional way you are accustomed to vote. But look and see who can give you better representation. And if you think, like the most of us, that the government has failed, then punish them with your votes when you go to the polls. And if you think that the opposition, who has failed to get into office for the last 15 years, have been weak to remove the government, punish them too with your votes on election day.
With the Argyle International Airport acting as the first piece of the puzzle in his plans to rebuild the East St. George constituency, the Unity Labour Party's candidate Camilo Gonçalves said that he knows the commands of his people and he is more than ready to serve. In his address at a meeting in Glen last evening, Gonçalves called on his constituents to join with the ULP government in its efforts to ensure greater development for the nation and its people.
Caliqua will be the first town that people see when they leave the airport on the way to town. When they leave the Argyle International Airport, when they get off of the JetBlue and the Virgin and the British Airways and the American Airlines and they start driving, the first town they will see is Caliqua in East St. George. And very often it will be the last town they see because they will check into a hotel by Villa or by Indian Bay or by Kanash, and they will never even reach Kingstown. And we want to have a town in East St. George for the tourists to say, well, what a lovely town that was we just passed. Let us go back there and get some fried fish. Let us go back there and go to a nightclub. Let us go back there and enjoy some local vibes. East St. George will be the center of tourism on the mainland of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Gonçalves said he intends to uplift the people of East St. George and SVG and pledged to make it his business to utilize the nation's resources only in the interest of the people.
East St. George, there's more to come. There's more to come because I am here to work for you and I will do my part to make your lives better. Maki mentioned the world-class swimming facility down at Shrewsbury House. And you see right here a mobile police station that was never in Glen up until a couple months ago. We're trying to keep the people of Glen a little bit safer because there were some terrible crimes happening in the area. And I want to salute the comrades and the police officers who do their work to keep us safe here in this community.
In more from the ULP, its candidate for West St. George, Cecil Sesmaki, said the Argyle International Airport will be a real game changer for the country's economy. He says the airport will ensure growth and prosperity for SVG and will not only serve its purpose of getting persons in and out of the country, but also provide an avenue to get Vincentian products onto the various international markets.
You have a number of farmers in the area, and we urge the farmers to position yourselves because you are going to have available to you a ready-made export market that you can guarantee better prices that you get now, because just from the Vincentian diaspora alone you will be able to sell your produce in a major way. So farmers in this area, farmers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, position yourselves to capitalize on that opportunity.
Mackey said that the Argyle International Airport coincides with the party's plan to convert Arnessville into a major city, where a new cruise ship terminal will be constructed. He noted that once completed, there will be a great boost in the tourism sector, not only on the mainland, but also in the Grenadines, highlighting that SVG is second to the BVI in bringing the most yachts to its shores. Mackey said that with the enhancement and development of air and seaports, SVG will gain benefits, especially through employment.
And I'm sure that a number of you here in East St. George that you are lining up to get a piece of the pie to establish businesses out there. There will also be security personnel out there, persons working within the facility out at Argyle. There will be persons in management positions. And I'm sure that some of you here from East St. George, you are positioning yourselves to maximize the benefits from the operation out there.
Issues of health and the development of sportsmen and facilities are on the agenda for the Democratic Republican Party. DRP's candidate for East St. George, Calvert Batiste, says his party is very much concerned about the health of Vincentians and that if elected to office, they will be seeking to reduce and control the amount of GMOs that enter the country, as well as the introduction of an air ambulance service to transport persons both on the mainland and in the Grenadines.
Pledge to have air ambulance rescue services available to the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You know why? And let me just correct what I just heard. Since 2013, in New York, in Brooklyn, New York, our leader, Mrs. Anissa Batiste, in a town hall meeting there, unveiled our desire and plan to have rescue services of air ambulances and helicopters to perform such services for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So NDP, you're late. The DRP got off the blocks with that one way before you.
Also speaking at the public meeting at the Fountain Gap was Haran Grant, the DRP's candidate for North Central Windward. He says his party aims to implement an Olympic championship and business plan which ensures that Vincentians can perform at an Olympic level, affording them the opportunity to earn a living and contribute to the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Grant further states that the upgrading of sporting facilities is important and expresses disappointment in the Unity Labour Party's lack of commitment in that area.
We will renovate all the old playing field, yes, and in North Central Windward, my playing field that I used to practice on that made me quit sports. The grass playing field, I don't know how much of you know it. It's filled with bare sand. And they refuse to level some land and give us a playing field, but they could move mountain and build airport because they don't want to be searched in an international airport. Selfishness!
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Human Rights Association is calling on all Vincentians who are eligible to vote to exercise this right on December 9th this year. In a media release, the association states that all people 18 years and older who are voting for the first time are asked to ensure that they obtain their identification cards by providing evidence of their age to the registration officer in the form of birth certificates before November 23rd, 2015. The association says any individual who is not eligible to vote and willfully makes any false claim to be included on the voters register is liable to a fine and imprisonment for 6 months. The association also advises employers that they are bound by law to give reasonable time to their employees so that they can vote on election day, and any employer who refuses to do so is guilty of an offense and is liable to a fine and imprisonment for 6 months. It also states that Section 44 of the Representation of the People's Act 1982 makes it clear that no one should, whether by himself or by someone on his or her behalf, give any money or other valuable item to anyone for the purpose of inducing that person to vote for or to refrain from voting for a particular candidate. According to the association, this is considered an election bribery, and anyone found guilty of the offense can be made to pay a fine and be imprisoned for 6 months. It says Vincentians should pay specific attention to which constituency and specific polling station their names are registered, noting that voting commences at 7 a.m. and concludes at 5 p.m.